Tonight, the Obama administration has just wrapped a terror summit 6 months in the making, meeting with dozens of countries as the world faces almost daily images of murder, torture, beheadings, and innocents set on fire. And tonight, it appears the administration believes a key to this fight is community outreach. The 3-day summit on combating violent extremism is now in the history books. 3 days of sessions focused on fighting terror with a focus on social media, empowering communities, and creating economic opportunity for would-be radicals. Turns out Marie Harf was right on message. We have reports that Vice President Joe Biden today called attention to Christian hate groups and violence done in the name of the Bible, while the president chose to key in on the need to expand human rights and peaceful dialogue.
Lift up voices of tolerance and peace, especially online. We have to get serious about confronting these economic grievances. We have to address the political grievances that terrorists exploit. When people are oppressed and human rights are denied, when dissent is silenced, it feeds violent extremism. And finally, we have to ensure that our diverse societies truly welcome and respect people of all faiths and backgrounds.
Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry is live tonight in Washington. Ed?
Good evening, Megan. For the second straight day, the president looked like maybe he was more in an ivory tower than in the middle of a war. Take a listen to some of the final sessions, the titles of these final sessions that included, quote, understanding violent extremism today and, quote, cultivating economic opportunity for communities vulnerable to radicalization. Critics like Republican Homeland Security Chairman Michael McCall said today this was a summit without substance, that the president spent more time explaining why young Muslims may get into terror rather than spelling out what he's going to do to defeat ISIS. Even some Democrats are saying that the focus was off, while Republicans are stepping up pressure on the commander-in-chief to send in ground troops. Listen.
And that focus is on this Islamic extremist threat that is posed not only to the United States and the American people, but around the world. From what we've heard so far, the administration is really claiming that the motivation or the thing that's fueling this terrorism around the world is something that has to do with poverty.
We're going to have to put boots on the ground, my friend, and we're going to have to do a lot more things than we're doing now if we are going to stem this tide.
Now, part of the reason John McCain said that is the administration did announce some progress today, a deal with Turkey to arm and train the Syrian moderate rebels to be ground troops on the ground in Syria against ISIS. But the administration said they've only got about 1,200 Syrian rebels ready to go. Remember, Congress funded and approved 5,000. So they're making progress, but still far short of what they need, Megan.
Ed Henry, thank you. While the White House invited lots of what it called moderate Muslims to this 3-day seminar, critics are questioning how one controversial figure made the list. The man to the left of the president in this picture is Salam al-Mariyati, the president of the Muslim Public Affairs Council. He is an Islamic activist who declared right after the 9/11 attacks that, quote, we should put the state of Israel on the suspect list for the 9/11 attacks. He has since said he's sorry. He also compared Islamic terrorists to, quote, American freedom fighters hundreds of years ago who were also regarded as terrorists by the British. Mark Thiessen is a Fox News contributor and an American Enterprise Institute fellow. Mark Hanna is a Democratic campaign vet and a partner at the Truman National Security Project. Mark Thiessen, how does this guy get invited to a conference, a summit like this?
It's mind-boggling. I mean, President Obama won't invite Benjamin Netanyahu to the White House, but he will invite an Islamic activist who said that Israel should be considered a prime suspect in the 9/11 attacks, or another person from a member of his organization who said, quote, Adolf Eichmann was himself a Jew, so in fact the Jews killed themselves in the Holocaust. How does this happen? How do these people get invited to a conference fighting? I thought this was a conference on fighting extremism, not giving it a platform. These people should have no role to play in combating Islamic radicalism.
Mark Hanna, in researching this guy, it appears that he not only has worked with the Obama administration, he did work with the Bush administration as well. But does that excuse it? I mean, when I looked into his background and I read a lengthy article by Andy McCarthy at the National Review online, and he talks about how this guy's group condemns terrorism before non-Muslim audiences, but neglects to explain that it does not consider resistance against those who, quote, persecute Muslims to be terrorism. And he has many examples of this group's support of Hezbollah and Hamas and incendiary rhetoric. What was he doing there?
I think you just answered the question, Megan, by saying, look, this guy has been working, and same with the Muslim Public Affairs Council, has been working for 10 years with our Department of Justice, has been working with our local law enforcement. This group is a mainstream moderate Muslim group. He's absolutely said stupid things in the past, for which, as you correctly reported, he's apologized for. But it's very rich to have Mark.
For one of them. I found an apology for saying Israel may have committed 9/11 against us.